My name's Leah Salmon, the Naturally You coach. I'm a best-selling author, speaker, nutritionist, life coach, live blood analyst. I'm a homeschooling mother of 6 children, wife to 1, sister to my sisters. When I was about 17 years old, I developed a menstrual condition where I was bleeding between my periods. And after doing some research, I realized that that was probably mainly to do with the fact that when I was about 11 years old, I decided I wanted to become vegetarian. And everyone said that was fine, but I needed to make sure I was getting my protein. So everyone pointed me to soya. So I was eating soya like 3 times a day. And I was what I call a junk food vegetarian. So as long as there was no meat in it, I was eating it. So I was eating pizzas, chocolate, crisps, flapjacks, soya milk, soya burgers, soya cheese, soya everything. And by the time I was about 17, I developed this menstrual condition. Now, I already had a healthy fear of the medical institute. I was completely convinced that they would either operate on me or drug me or ignore me if I had presented my health challenge to them. But as the saying goes, in order for change to occur, the pain of staying the same has to become greater than the pain of change. And the pain of me having 2 periods a month and having to hide it from friends and family became overwhelming. And I had been a student of a great teacher by the name of Dr. Malachi Z. York, who told us that all we need to do to connect to our greatness is go back to our ancestors, and the power that we have to heal ourselves and determine our lives is at the end of our own arms. So even though I got desperate and I did go to the doctors, they basically ignored me. I think I probably would have felt better if they at least offered some drugs and some surgery, so I could have said no. But they literally said, if it gets any worse, come back in 6 months. So even though I initially felt abandoned by the medical community, it was that incident that was the impetus to get me to realize that I had the power to heal myself. So I started using dietary changes, aromatherapy oils, lifestyle changes, and within about 3 weeks, the symptoms subsided, and within about 3 months, the condition completely alleviated itself. So I had healed myself through natural remedies, and then that turned me into that really annoying person that's just found out about health and wants to tell everyone about health. And do you know what's on your plate? Is that organic? Is that sugar-free? Is that gluten-free? I became one of those people. At that time, I also realized I wasn't a very good employee. I didn't really like being told what time to come in and couldn't have this much holiday. So I realized that I would actually really enjoy helping people to help themselves with their health the way that I had, and empower people to take their health into their own hands. And I did that for a while. I was a nutritionist, but I was also the type of nutritionist that if it works for me, then it's jolly well going to work for you. And if it don't work for you, there's something wrong with you because my advice is cool. And that didn't work for very long, because what I began to realize is that we're not all the same. Biochemically, we're not all the same. Me and my brother from the same parents, we're not all the same. So what I was finding is that as I was working with clients, some people were getting great results, some people were getting no results, no changes at all, and other people were in fact getting worse from the recommendations that I was giving, and I was close to giving up. And then I found out about biochemic individuality, which basically means that on a cellular level, we all respond differently to different balances of nutrients. So we can both be vegan or plant-based, but the type of foods you would need to eat would be different than the type of foods I would need to eat to get the same results. When I started using that with my clients, then people started getting much better results. But I also realized, even though I was calling myself holistic, I was only focused on someone's food. I didn't care if they had enough money to buy that food, what mental state they were in, whether they were stressed, whether they hated their job. So then I started exploring why some of my clients were not getting great results, and it was because I wasn't taking them into consideration. All I cared is, did you have the salad, did you have the smoothie, did you have the herbs? And for some people, they were really struggling with their life purpose. They had existential angst. What am I doing here? What's my purpose? Do you know what I mean? So when I started implementing life coaching to the work that I was doing, that's when I really felt that I was beginning to make more of a difference. During this whole process, I had children. I'm a mother of 6 children. My first 2 children were premature. My first child came when I was 7.5 months pregnant. She's 15 years old now. Our second child came when I was 5.5 months pregnant. So he lived for 8 months in the hospital, and then he passed on. Now, that initially put a dent in my ego as a woman, because that's what we are designed to do, is to hold and grow children to, populate the planet. So when I wasn't able to hold my first 2 children, that made me go even more into, okay, what is going on with me? Why hasn't my womb been working this whole time? And I started focusing a lot more on womb health and womb healing. And the third child we had, when I got pregnant, I was like, I'm not even going to the doctors, because you lot don't know what you're doing. You let me have 2 premature babies. And I really did focus on a lot of inner work and self-care, and our 3rd child came exactly on her due date in a home birth. And then the 5 children we had after that all came with non-complicated home births. One of them, in fact, came so quickly the midwives didn't get there on time, so my husband became a midwife for the night. But that also made me realize how important it was to look after Black women during their pregnancies. We know that Black women are 5 times more likely to die during childbirth. We've seen some beautiful sisters leave in childbirth just very recently. That's why now the bulk of my work is focused on supporting Black women, Black women's health, whether that's their digestive health, mental health, pregnancy health. I work with a lot of sisters who have fibroids and a lot of womb health challenges. A lot of us know on a spiritual level that we hold a lot of our emotions in our womb and in our womb space. So addressing the challenges that sisters have on a mental and emotional level is in many ways just as important as what we do physically with their diet and their exercise and their lifestyle and supplements and things like that. And in the last 3 years, I've thoroughly enjoyed being able to support my sisters, and that's what I feel I want to do for the rest of my career, is to support the Black woman, because in my opinion, I feel that the nation's health and wellness is very much dependent on the health and wellness of Black women. If we can empower Black women, then brothers know, when your woman's in a good mood, innit? When your woman's in a good mood, when your wife is cool, everything cool, children know it, wives, husbands know it, we look after sisters, everyone's going to be cool. When people ask how I manage the balance or get a balance between running the business and home educating and being a wife and all that kind of stuff, I don't think I do, to be honest. I don't think I am getting it completely balanced. And I heard a very encouraging quote, because we do talk about having balance and how balance is important, but I heard an encouraging quote, which is that balance is a myth and harmony is a must. Balance is a myth. It's a myth that we can balance the amount of time that we spend on our business, with our children, looking after ourselves, being a good wife, looking after the house. It's a bit of a myth. We can't balance it, but what we can do is create harmony. So I might need to work 8 hours in one day, but if I can spend 3 good hours focused on the children, not answering my phone, not checking emails, working with them, answering their questions, playing with them, and then another good 2 hours looking after the home, cooking, preparing food, and all those kind of things. I'm not going to be able to get them in balance. I'm not going to be able to enjoy my children for 8 hours a day completely focused, but it is about creating harmony. And just like in a business, and I kind of run my house like a business, we have timetables, we have like agendas and all that kind of stuff. And just like in a good, well-run business, you had standard operating procedures. This is how this runs, this is how much time this gets, schedules, and that's how things work. And when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And you obviously, it's family life, it's children. Children are unpredictable like no one's business. But you have to kind of factor in some flexibility. As a parent, we just have to learn to be flexible. But having some kind of structure and planning does help, because our children, our eldest is 15 and our youngest is 5. They have such an incredible social life, way better than mine as far as their activities and all that kind of stuff is concerned. And I've always said that I wanted to create an abundant life for myself and for my children, which means that I want them to experience a lot of things in life and learn different things and all those kind of things. So it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be ideal. We're never going to get everything done. Sometimes the house is a mess, but the children have done all their activities. Sometimes, I'm a little bit late on a coaching call, but all my clients get their information on time. Sometimes I'm getting 3 hours sleep. Sometimes I'm not getting sleep. I'm going all through the night. But I want to create that abundance in my life. And I know that it doesn't have to be I'm either a good mum or I'm a business owner, because the abundant mindset is you can have both. You can be a good mother and you can be a business owner. And I'm particularly passionate about making sure my children see that I'm not perfect, but I'm making progress, so that they don't feel that they need to be perfect either. They just need to focus on progressing. And one of the things I've specifically taught my children is that your purpose in life is to find something that you're really good at, work out how to make money from that, and use that to help your community. Those are the 3 things I impress upon my children. So I don't care if my child comes back and says they want to join the circus, or they want to be a florist, or they want to be a deep sea diver, or they want to be a Supreme Court judge. I don't really mind what they want to do, as long as they are really good at it and they're passionate about it. and they work out a way to make a lot of money from it. I do not agree with the concept that money is evil, money is bad. I think we need to be as abundant as possible. The richest man in history was Mansa Khan Musa. By standards, he's still the richest person that's ever lived. Him and his crew would go through a city and disrupt the economy because of how much money they put into it. Those are our examples. The pyramids in Egypt used to be lined with 24-karat gold and limestone. We had abundance on tap. That's what we need to look back to. And I'm not talking abundance like a big flashy gold chain and all the stuff that's promoted in the media. That's riches. We had wealth, and that's what we can create now. And I feel that, again, it's not going to be perfect, the balance that I am, but I am going to create wealth. And that's going to be a wealth of information first, because I'm an avid lifelong learner. I do believe in, learning from cradle to grave. And I also believe that that learning has to be learning of self as well. Above all the doorways in Egyptian temples, there was typically the same expression, which is know thyself and to thyself be true. Because now, if you go to the doctors, or if you want to know about medicine, you go to the doctors. If you want to know about your body, you go to the doctors. But the late, great Laila Afrika wrote in his book the fact that in our ancient culture, that was standard information. The same way everyone had to know their times tables now, all children were taught about the science of herbs and oils and food and lifestyle and exercise and exposure to sunlight. It was common knowledge, and that knowledge is wealth. We know that health is wealth, and having that knowledge should be there for everyone. So I want to be an example to my children, again, not of being perfect, but of making progress. And I want them to see that my mum did things that helped people. She found something she was really good at, and she committed to it and gave us as much time as she could in the process. One of the things that motivated me to write my books is that I wanted things to come from a Black perspective. I never want to produce stuff or put content out there that's easily found somewhere else. I didn't want to just replicate something that someone else is doing. I wanted to make it unique. If someone spends money and buys my book, I want them to get something unique from it. And I've tried to write things from a personal perspective and without as much fluff as possible. So I kind of get straight to the point, which is why the books are not very thick, but there's a lot of information in there, so you don't have to go through a lot of waffle to get the practical information. And I am very much about practical information. Like, tell me exactly what I need to do so I can do it. I mean, I want all of this. You should feel this and feel that. And the mental and the emotional is very important. But I also feel that you can just put so much fluff and padding around something. People can go to a 2-hour talk with you and they leave without any actual steps and tools that they can actually go home and follow. They're just all hyped up, that hoorah, hyped up stuff. And yeah, we do need that motivation, but I feel you get more motivation when you physically do something and get a result. That is more motivating than hearing, yeah, you can do it, come on, let's do it, because we'll do it then. But what do you want me to do? Fam, tell me what you want me to do in it, specifically. Not just you can do it, I need step-by-step guides. So the raw food recipe book in particular, when I first found out about raw foods, I thought it was some extreme white people, hippie stuff that, rich white people did. And that was mainly because the raw vegan world that I knew about had faces of Caucasians. So the foods in there just didn't seem to relate to me as a Black woman who likes plantain and okra and mango, do you know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to write this raw food recipe book, because I'm not a raw vegan full-time at all, but I fully appreciate how important it is to include as much raw food into our diet as possible. So I wanted to make the book easy. So the recipes in there don't have thousands of ingredients. You don't need to search Amazon and go to the, out Hebrides and find something from some jungle or rainforest business, right? You can get everything from Tesco's or the man on the corner shop. You could get everything, like tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuce and nuts and seeds and simple things that even children can make and appreciate, and definitely including a lot of foods from our culture as well. So one of the recipes in there that a lot of people like is the plantain and okra stew, because a lot of people don't know you can eat plantain and okra raw, but you can, and it tastes delicious and you get a lot more nutrients from it. If you love okra but you don't like the sliminess of it, then when you have it raw, it's nice and crunchy. Okra is amazing. The mucilage that it has is brilliant. brilliant for coating our respiratory, or helping to coat our respiratory tract, our digestive tract. For women, it helps lubricate our vaginal canal. It helps with childbirth. That's why a lot of sisters will have, in African culture, will have like okra stew just before we're about to give birth and in the later stages to help that slip when sisters get vaginal dryness when they come going through the change of menopause. Okra is amazing for that. Great source of fiber, vitamin C, and a lot of nutrients in foods will get denatured, we call it. The nutrients get broken down chemically when they're exposed to too much heat. So when they're in their raw state, not only is there more nutrients that's bioavailable, as in your body can break it down and assimilate it more easily, but there's also something called live enzymes in raw food, which actually invigorate and energize you that you don't get in cooked food. And the more research I did into raw food, I realized that, again, there's actually a big community of raw foodists in Jamaica. There's a brother called Aris Latham, who's a long-time raw vegan expert and proponent. But again, unfortunately, the media does have a preference for showing lighter skin when it comes to these things. And I feel that that's another reason I wanted to get as many of my books out there as possible and get my voice and my face out there as possible, because I want people to attribute a black face to natural health, because if you do a search to natural health right now, you're not going to see me. And we do have this inclination to trust a white man in a white coat when it comes to health, which is why I wanted to change that image. You're going to see a black woman wearing black, and you're going to start associating that with health, because we were the original herbalists, aromatherapists, we were the original doctors, the scientists, we were the originals, and we just need to reclaim that and bring that back. So I have done the first 2 Black Pound Day markets, and I thought it was brilliant. I mean, just coming back from the lockdown and being able to be around people physically again. Black people, we are very communal people, we're very congregational people, so it is important for us to be able to come together safely during these times and support each other financially and economically and just emotionally and mentally as well. Some people, being online was something that we had to do. We had to be online during the lockdown, but people sometimes want that physical connection. They want to look in your eye and ask you a question, and they want to be able to feel and see your responses. So it's important for business owners to be able to have that contact with their customers, because we know in business, you don't necessarily always buy the best product for the best price. You buy from people that you know, like, and trust. And when you have an environment where you're in a black-owned business, which is just cool in the first place, being in a black-owned building, and you're supporting an initiative that was created by a black brother to support the whole black community, you're winning before you even set up your table, because the people that are coming there are already inspired to want to support you. So I feel that even though I've been to a lot of events and had a lot of stalls and done a lot of talks, the energy around the Black Pound Day and the Black Pound Day markets was just very different. It was just so set up to win because of all the passion and the drive that was put into it, from everyone from Swiss to the owners of the Legacy Center to the thousands of people that supported it online before we actually had this physical space. And I feel that when we did have the physical markets promoted, people couldn't wait to come, which is why there were thousands of people that signed up for tickets. And I'm a talker and I like people, I like being around people, so I really enjoyed it. So my vision for 10 years from now for the Naturally You Coach is to have a health center, a space that's specifically dedicated to the health and wellness of Black women. So a birthing center, somewhere we can learn about, where children can learn more about health and wellness, a yoga studio, an allotment where we can, or a space where we can grow our own food, an education center. I'm very into science. I'm very geeky and nerdy. One of the things that I've just learned how to do is something called live blood analysis. So I can actually take a drop of blood from the side of your finger, put it under a microscope, and magnify your blood 1,000 times and project it onto a laptop screen so I can actually see your blood cells. And we know that your blood is everything that you do, everything you're exposed to gets reflected in your blood. So I'm able to see by the size, the position, the distribution of your blood cells and what's happening in your plasma, what's going on with your health, and that allows me to give more specific diet, supplement, and lifestyle recommendations. And again, we were the original scientists, and I feel that Black women are not seen very prominently in science, and science is the foundation of the medical applications that we go to the hospital and be subjected to. And it's well known that most of the drugs and the pharmaceuticals and the operations that we go in there to receive were not tested on our bodies. There's only recently been more of an upsurge of nutraceuticals, which is like supplements that were designed for Black people. We had Mariandina, which has been around for a very long time, and that was probably one of the first supplements that was created and tested on the chemistry of Black people and found to work. And that was by the late, great Dr. Sali, and his son, Stephen Sali, has promoted that more from now. But we need to have so many more things that are targeted at our chemistry. There's a great book called Vitamins from A to Z by Dr. Jill Pukram, and she speaks specifically about the fact that our body is different than people from other races, and everyone else actually has nutrients and procedures that work for their body, but we kind of just take on whatever everybody else has. And when we're putting ourselves in front of them and they're using their systems on us and we're wondering why it doesn't work, it's because it's not for us. So I want to be able to create as much as possible that's designed to specifically help us and that's catered to our needs and our biochemistry, and encouraging a lot more Black women to get into the healing arts from a scientific level as well, so that we've got the evidence to back things up, as opposed to I think this is going to work on, because without assessing, you're guessing. And technically, when we go to see a lot of health therapists, they kind of do have to guess a bit, and there is a bit of guesswork in maybe this is going to work, maybe that's going to work. And I prefer to just get to it. Do we know it's going to work? Let's do some testing to see if it's going to work first. Let's look at your blood. Let's do a questionnaire so that I can give you the specific information that I know is going to have more of an impact on you. Because unfortunately what happens is you have enough good marketing for a product, everyone thinks it's going to work for them, they all take these herbs and superfoods, it don't work because it wasn't meant to work for you, and then we get a bad impression of natural health and natural remedies are this stuff doesn't work. No, it's not that it doesn't work, it's just not working for you because you haven't found what works best for you. And that is really something I would love to do, is to create that tailored health facility for Black women and Black children. So if you want to find out more about the work that I do with the Naturally You Coach, you can find me at thenaturallyyoucoach.com. You can find me on Instagram, Naturally You Coach, Facebook, and then on Twitter at Leah Salmon. I have a mailing list where I send out videos, podcasts, articles, recipes, all of those kind of things. So even if you're not in a position to purchase things, I'm really here to support as many people as possible. So there's a lot of free information on my website. I do really focus on Black women's health. So there's a free product that I have called a womb wellness guide that you can download for free, and that will give you guidance to help you to naturally support your womb health. I aim to be at as many of the Black markets the Black Pound Day markets as possible, and anything that the Legacy Centre has on that they will let me slide into. When we start having talks again, I'd love to come and do some talks and workshops and again, as many things that I possibly can, and I would love to hear and contact and be in contact with as many of you as possible.
Okay. Is there anything you want to add that you think I've asked you, or anything you want to, any gaps?
Is it okay to talk more about the Black Pound Day?
Yeah, if you like.
Yeah. If anyone has any doubt as to whether the Black Pound Day movement is going to be effective or not, I'm telling you it's going to be effective. And it's going to be as effective as the community is effective at supporting it. Because we know the power of celebrity endorsement. We've seen projects that have started before to help stimulate the Black economy. And sometimes they've been successful, sometimes been marginally successful. But I think everyone saw how incredibly impactful it was to have an initiative that was telling people we need to support Black businesses with our Black pounds 1 day a week. That was promoted by a celebrity. And we know that celebrities have big pulling power and they can use that power to influence people. We know that's a fact. So when we see brothers like Swiss who have decided to use their influence to support the community and our economic structure, that's something we all have to get around. Because to be honest, with all the people that are saying, this is not going to work, it's not going to be effective, I haven't had as many sales from you lot saying that as I've had sales from the brother pushing the Black Pound Day and telling people to go and find Black businesses and support them. So if you are a Black business, support it. by letting people know on Black Pound Day, I'm having this sale, I'm having this offer. Because just like all the other national holidays that are there, we will do things to promote an Easter sale, a Christmas sale, a Valentine's sale, a bank holiday sale, a Black Friday sale. This can be seen as basically another opportunity for you to market and support and promote your products. Because we know for a fact that for a long time we felt as a Black community, we've had to ask or sometimes beg for the resources to be able to do things. And it's not always that we don't have the resources. Sometimes we're just not being resourceful enough with what it is that we have. So now that we've been given this platform, which is Black Pound Day, we can jump on it and we can use that to boost and support our business. My business has done more sales. I've had more sales from Black Pound Day than probably any other initiative that I've worked with in the last 15 years of me being in business. And I'm happy to help support that because a rising tide lifts all boats. The more we support the Black Pound Day team, and there's a team of people working on this, the more we support that team, the more they will help us as Black businesses. If you want to start a Black business, now is the right time to do this. If you are a Black business, now is the time to jump on this rising tide. You know, the gold rush? This is the time to buy those shovels, people, because there's only going to be a certain amount of people that really get to benefit from this, and it's the people that jump on it right now. So instead of having criticisms about it or being concerned, then work it and support, because we are... The other thing is, you know, people used to say you're too full of fashion. You know why people are full of fashion? Because psychologically, thousands of years ago, our safety depended on us being communal. It depended on us all working together. So when we see big movements and everyone's jumping on those movements, it's something that's psychologically programmed into humans for our survival. Well, they're all doing it, so it must be good. So the more we all push this initiative and this project and this mission, the more we're all going to benefit from it. So support Black Pound Day.